我们这边今天有维摩诘居接近的课啊，然后明天我们那个拉荣佛学院和拉荣寺这边的话呢是供护法的日子，整个山沟里面，这个历史呢大家都应该清楚，就早在100多年前吧，第一世登州法王的时候，他当时跟这个苏天女，就是土地僧，就发生一些纠纷，然后土地僧呢就开始跟登州法王的，好像他的最小的女子还是什么，都开始就害死了，然后还有很多其他人也生病了的。当时眷属当中有些人生病了，包括他的家里面也发生一些事情。然后当时那个登州法王把那个就土地僧呢，就是他就迁到那个像路货那边有个叫做拉普塞嘎登，就是现在跟罗库马的地方，就他就迁到哪里去了。后来呢，有一个大道呢，就是他们之间的这种纠纷就开始调解，然后之后的话呢，登州法王就是也就现在我们这个供护法的那个地方，就叫他回来，就回来以后呢，他也变成一股气，就是融入在那个山顶上，然后互相承诺，就是每一年的藏历6月26号的时候呢，登州法王和他这个凡是在拉荣的这个发卖的啊，就是都要这个供他，那么他呢，就是从此之后就只造一切顺缘，就不造一切违缘，就这样的一个承诺。所以呢，就是法王在世的时候，我们一直在这里，也是这样的。明天也是比较特殊的日子啊，你们愿意去的这些道友的话呢，就经常那个就按照这个男宗和女宗，可能现在女宗太多了，就是那个女宗供奉的地方比较就这是地方比较窄一点，男宗可能当时不知道怎么分的，就太那个了，但不知道这个以后是看怎么样。凡是你们想去供的话，那也可以；就不去的话，那就是在家里年年供护法，都可以。然后我们这里的各个部门的话呢，也是没有特殊情况的话，大家也可以就是这个除了个别的一些发行部门以外的话呢，大家也可以这个休息一下，也可以。然后其他我们这个发卖的一些道友不在那个拉荣的话呢，就是你们也可以就自己这个一换观相啊，就是然后也可以做一些这个护法的这个就供一些护法，就因为护法神呢，就是他有智慧神和身边神，就是所以呢就不一定非要到跟前去，就是我都有时候懒惰的时候在想家里就是供一供，我想是我上去辛辛苦苦的话，那走路也困难，然后那个有时候有点不空，就是不如家里供的话，他肯定来享用，就是这是我的一个懒惰的借口。但实际上呢，也可以这样，因为有些是可能现在因为种种原因吧，就是已经离开了这个学院，但是心还在那个法脉当中。当然，我们这里呢要提醒的是。现在不管是国内也好，国外也好，有些地方呢说是拉荣的什么分院啊、分寺啊，就这些方面呢，就是最好不要提。就是我们也没有说是某个地方是我们的这个佛学院的分院呐、拉荣寺的分寺啊，就是没有这么说，就是说也没有这样。就这样的话呢，各方面也比较方便一点。当然，你们自己呢，就是认为是拉荣的传承的话呢，就是这是谁也阻挡不了，就是也可以是我们的这个法脉啊、传承啊。有些地方的话呢，有几个道友；有些地方的话呢，可能有这个1-2个道友；有些地方的话呢，可能因为各方面的因缘就是比较多一点。但不管怎么样呢，这就是法脉的一种这个传承，就是并不是说是我们这个要建立，就是不然的话呢。就是有很多地方呢， 没有必要的这种担心，就是有些觉得啊，是不是我们这个拉绒呢，就是现在就是分了很多的这个分支，就是这些分支以后的话呢，会不会什么那样的，就是所以我们呢，就是大家都是以这种佛学院就是佛学院，拉绒寺就是拉绒寺。除此之外的话呢，大家各自都是在那个全世界有这么多的佛教中心，有这么多佛教的寺院，有这么多佛教的这个学院。当然，如果做得好的话呢，你不做这个学院的什么分院的话呢，实际上是弘法你是已经非常圆满的话呢，都已经成了这样的。如果你做得不好的话呢，反而给可能学院也带来一些不好的这个影响。就是所以呢，供护法的时候也好，平时我们开法会的时候也好，讲经说法的时候呢，就是大家最好是不要利用一些这个拉绒的这个名称吧。这样的话呢，可能比如说汉传佛教的话呢，可能也会带来一些那个就比较担忧啊，就是包括这个相关部门就是也给予这个这个重视啊，就是有一些担心啊这样的。实际上是我们如果有的话的是也可以这么说，但实际上呢，我们都不管是从哪方面的话呢，就是大家都各自的方式来修行和弘扬佛法。就这一点呢，就是我想可能大家要这个记住一下。就是其他的话呢，都没有很多这个事情吧。就是最重要的呢，就是大家这个，比如说我们这个拉绒这边有什么样的这个修行呢？这样的话呢，这个有信心、有缘分的、有兴趣的呢，就各自都可以这个参与。比如我们这里一起念金刚萨埵信咒的话呢，那么就是大家也是就是可以共同这个参与啊，就是有什么这个重要的一些修行的话呢，就是我们就共同参与。除此之外的话呢，我们也不像以前的什么就个别寺院一样的啊，就是这个他们的这个寺院或者是中心一定要每年交多少钱呢？每年都是要派多少人呢？就没有这样的。就这样有的话呢，反而可能弘法利生的很多事情呢，就是不一定很方便。所以各个地方的话呢，就是大家还是要有一些智慧和方便啊，就是三桥智慧方便。我看那天我们念的，嘎达雅那念完了没有？好吧，那今天我们那天那个嘎达雅那的传承念完了，就今天，阿那尼尊者的传承就可以了。像这全部做的你们从那么弄全部那个叫的，把个他俺上头些嘛。东巴的这家来给上菜儿，的你中等的这当当把芒果把那瓜子儿，芒果把就了咱把这么没不着病难这个是东西，芒果被讲说了吧，中等的都结果当把的做样吃儿，没做我的几拉是那个地方吧？中等的都跟我们参加吧第几个呢？我们参吧第几个？我们参吧第几个呢？这个吃个啥几个呢？吃个吧的，参吧全部给完了，过把几下几把，参吧吃当上去，的那我的几年得了，得个了我点起的，得个刚把咱们过去学习呢，学习的过的，得了那个进吃过。怎么忙个吧？觉得中等的几里没见进出到算呢？才能当把忙个比里没的就是真正痛，这个对了那个几面说，主播这个可能中等的世界的不上几样，动什么的动进步。几天几看能得到的，或者那几位没当当比拉姆他的接着里，这个是把人的通我一干去不人的几把的。لازم بتجمع من بتجربي شغل درب شيء ده دقر كم بالام قوي شغل جيني دغلان درك جيم شو زنبا مانغ بال هي مكم غمبر ندو شي بيمسانية تام غوندي غمبر ندو مفشي بيمسانية تام كارتي تي غمبر ندو شي بيمسانية ينا شرو جيم غمبر شي بار غادم صونسو جرتي غمبر ندو مفشي با ينا غمبر ندو مفشي بانا ديما شي با يندي نم تونر منيني نيتنجي جرترم تونجم شيني دغجا 멈치버 저르데 창바디 기회담바 텔랍테니 테르트투네 몸서르데 지르데 쇼신 드르키치 메소 지르텐 히미기찬 깡라 중든데 메바 상집 중든데는 직된나 리믹 연데 리믹 젠데 대덕은 냠버 비적버 내급 탐chất 내급 경 만도르가 상지지 장 탐chất 경 즈그데 니지랍도 시와양 마요노 데네 상바요 쿠르 치담반도 토네 로비 삼발로나 메파양 도벌 상첩도 심지 치 die dag dan stier dan batte la shirki te keeper mene tenet ma kaver kirte dag yan popa mam chi per kirto dir la tab dag stier dan batte zhou zhe xiang qir mo zhou wo chi
So today we'll continue the class on Vimalakirti Sutra. We'll continue. Well, this sutra, we will have a few classes per week, 1 or 2 weeks. Next week we'll have it on Monday and Tuesday. We'll try to have 2 classes per week until about September 10th-ish. I think maybe we'll pause it for about a month or so. Maybe some of you feel that if you don't want to teach it in a row, then just don't. Maybe some of you are really thinking this way. But sometimes I really don't have a choice due to the wind of karma, which blows really quite fiercely. Sometimes it's far away, sometimes it's not that far, sometimes it's not strong enough, and then it will stop. Therefore, it's just the wind of karma. It's the wind of our collective karma as well. This is all the audience collective karma. The root of it is the collective karma. So we have to accept that. But I also try my best to accommodate with all your schedule as well. Because some of you need to make a schedule beforehand. Therefore, I try to make such announcement in advance. So from now, that is beginning of August, and then we'll end this session of class around the mid of September. And each week we'll have about 1 or 2 or maybe 3 classes. We may have other classes such as the classics on filial piety as well as Gangpopa's instructions. I hope all of you to treat such classes, especially this class, as the most important thing in your life. Don't take it with importance because I am the one teaching, but take it with importance because this is an important knowledge. Because if you don't pay close attention, if you don't think that this is important class, then how can you gain benefit from this? One day you think that you have lots of chores, the other day you're too tired and fell asleep, and on another day you miss the class because you're not in a good mood. If you treat this class in such a way, there's no benefit you can gain from it. You have to have faith in such teaching. I heard many people actually have lots of interest in such sutra because there are so many teachings, profound teachings in it that is uncommon in Shravakayana as well as the exoteric teachings or the Sutrayana teachings. You can often hear lots of the Vajrayana pithy instructions in it. I think many people are quite interested in it due to such reasons. Another reason that people are interested in this class is that this teaching is not like the classes on the Buddhist logics, but it's like a play where one character would come into the story and the other character would come into the story. For example, we heard the story of Shupati and then heard the story of Vimalakirti as well as Puruna. We've already heard the stories of 5 disciples of the Buddha. Each story contains different types of practice methods. And today, we're going to learn about the teaching and the story from Mahakatyayana as well as Aniruddha. And later we'll also learn about the story of Upali and Rahula as well as Ananda. In this chapter, we'll learn the stories of the 10 greatest disciples of the Buddha, who are ranked number 1 in studying, number 1 in understanding wisdom, and number 1 in miraculous actions, and so on. All the number 1s of Buddha's disciples. And in the next chapter, we'll learn about different stories of bodhisattvas, such as Manjushri and so on. There are different conversations between them, between Vimalakirti and the different bodhisattvas. I saw that lots of people, I noticed they pay lots of attention to listening in this class because there's such a pressure. Everyone may be presenting the class after this class. So under such pressure, they really pay lots of attention. We also have such presentation in different languages, which not all of us understand. But as long as they can speak the language, that particular language, with lots of confidence and fluency, then it sounds very good. Well, we're going to study it in a consistent and careful way so that you will be able to digest the content after class so that you can receive the blessings from Shupati, from Mahabodhigalayana, and so on. So that you can have a deeper understanding of the Dharma, you can have a glimpse of the Vajrayana view, and so on. Such a way in studying and developing the correct view is really important. Because nowadays there are so many people who are ruining Buddhism with the name of Buddhism, which are quite dangerous and really scary in some ways. But people without the right view, they are willingly taking their words with lots of joy. We can see different people. We can see people like that nowadays on internet. Now, let's get back to the teaching. I think today the two stories are rather simple. So earlier we already studied the story of Purna. His name in Tibetan is Gampo. Sri Pucha Shariwa. And Katyayana is Wojong, and Shupudi is Yamjo. So Purna's Tibetan name is Gampo. I'm teaching Tibetan right now. Today we're going to learn the story of Maha Katyayana. Katyayana in Tibetan is also Katyayana, which is direct translation of Sanskrit, or the phonetic of Sanskrit. He is very famous. He often uses miraculous powers to visit hell realms, to to go to the animal realms, to go to the three lower realms, and to see their previous lives, and then he would go back to the human realm, to the human world, and teach the Dharma. Just like visiting those places with the Bardo body. He's quite a great arhat. In some history, it says that back at the time of the Buddha, when Buddha was just born, there was a Brahma. There was a Brahmin who is very good at making prophecies, and he is the uncle of Mahakatyayana. He made the prophecy of the Buddha that he's going to be either a great rich king or an enlightened one. Katyayana actually is from a very famous, renowned family. He has an elder brother. His elder brother is also a teacher, but he is a heterodox teacher. And because he was afraid that Katyayana is going to get disciples from him, so Katyayana went to study with his uncle, who made prophecy of the Buddha. Katyayana was able to see, or he was able to live to the time of Buddha's enlightenment, but his uncle did not. Katyayana is a great arhat. He has lots of wisdom and skillful means. I think I told the story. There was a landlord who is rather cruel, and he has a servant. This is an old woman. This old woman had a vase, and she was fetching water at the bank of a river, and she was weeping over there, and she felt lots of suffering. Katyayana saw her and asked her why she suffers and wept so much. So this old woman replied him and said that, I feel there is no meaning in my life, just like how lots of our passive people nowadays who constantly say that I don't see meaning in my life, therefore I want to commit suicide. Even the modern medical science points out that many disease or many sickness are caused by negative emotions. Therefore, try not to have such negative enforcement onto yourself. Anyhow, let's get back to the story. Katyayana said that, well, if you feel really sad because you're poor and you're suffering a lot, why don't you just sell your poverty? And the old woman was really surprised and said, how can you sell poverty? Who's going to buy it? And Katyayana said that I'm going to buy it. And at that time, the old woman offered a vase of clear water to Katyayana. Later, after she died, she was reborn in a heaven realm and never had poverty ever again. To the Western audience, I think sometimes you may have misunderstandings about such histories. You may think that they're just stories. You may only accept logics. It's not that you can understand everything, but it doesn't mean that these things didn't happen. It doesn't mean that these things are not true. Many people have bias. Even a very intelligent person who are very smart, that kind of intelligence is still biased. Well, those were the background story of Mahakatyayana. He was renowned as the number one in understanding the Buddha's teaching and expanding the Buddha's teaching. He's very good at expanding the Buddha's teachings, let it be relative or ultimate. So at that time, then the Buddha asked Katyayana, he said that, well, since you go to the hell realms as well as animal realms, why don't you go and inquire Vimalakirti's illness? You should go visit him on my behalf. At that time, Katyayana said that to the Buddha. He said, world-honored one, I dare not accept your instruction to go and inquire about Vimalakirti's illness. Why is that? Because I remembered once in the past, after the Buddha briefly explained the essence of the Dharma. And at that time, the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. At that time, after the Buddha's teaching, Katyayana was acting in the role of tutor. So he was tutoring the other students after the class. I see lots of our tutors over here in Laronggar. They are very happy when it's their turn to tutor the disciples, to tutor the fellow students. It's quite important to maintain that joyfulness when you expound the Dharma. Tutoring and mentoring at that time, I think it's very important, and this is still very important over here right now. I remember after Phuntsok Rinpoche's teaching, we usually have large group tutoring first, and then we'll spread into small groups. And then on the second day, we'll have another tutoring session on the previous class. So it doesn't matter if it's the classes on cause and condition and fruition, or Madhyamika and so on. If we could have many sessions of tutoring, it's quite important. If we can have 20 minutes or 15 minutes of tutoring sessions, if we can take turns to tutor the other students, including the lay practitioners, I think it's quite important to have those sessions so that you can review and you can deepen your understanding.
他并没有要求就讲法的话呢，一定要什么呢？就是一定要用出家人来讲。你看文物局居士的是。
It's not that only the ordained monks and nuns could expound the Dharma. Let's look at Vimalakirti. He could teach to arhats and great disciples of the Buddha. And after Vimalakirti's teaching, after this lay practitioner's teaching, those arhats sometimes get silent and get dumbfounded. I notice many lay practitioners would fold their hands whenever they see the Khenpos and Khenmos and so on. I also notice there are people there are lay practitioners who are quite arrogant. Without much foundation in the Dharma, they could teach a lot. They could talk a lot based on their dualistic thoughts. I know there are Geshe and Geshima titles for lay practitioners nowadays. Female professors in the Gelupa tradition would be called Geshima, and the male would be Geshe. But in Nyingma tradition, it is Khenpo and Khenmo. Khenmo is for female teachers, female Dharma teachers.
所以呢，可能直接这样的称呼的话，也许可能有一点，因为改变传统是需要一个改革，就是所以
to change the tradition,
反对的声音，就是所以不一定
it could not. It takes time, and you may hear lots of different voices. If there are truly the lay practitioners who can teach, or who have such foundation and capability to teach, then maybe they can become Khenmo with long hair. But it takes time to change tradition. It needs a revolution. There are lay practitioners who are great enlightened practitioners, such as Dego Khyentse Rinpoche and Jujun Rinpoche and so on. Although they appear to be lay practitioners, but they have such profound insights and realizations. So for those of you who think that you are bhikkhu, bhikkhunis, and novice, and you're ordained with different precepts, therefore you're much higher in status than the lay practitioners. But I would like to mention that we have a very limited number of ordained masters. Just as lots of overseas students ask me to send some ordained masters, saying that if we don't have ordained masters here to guide us, we cannot study in a group anymore. But I think, as lay practitioners, you should be able to get it together. Sometimes I get it much faster, so that I keep the interpreters on the edge. Sometimes I teach really fast. Especially when I was younger, I talk really fast, and people used to complain to me. So now I've already slowed down much more than I used to. At that time, Katyayana was tutoring to the group of bhikshus, and he was tutoring on the meaning of impermanent suffering, emptiness, non-self, and extinction or nirvana. There are the 5 layers. Over here, emptiness is not listed in Tibetan, neither in the Sanskrit edition, but in the Chinese version, in the different Chinese editions, it has emptiness in it. But in Tibetan version, it only has the 4 aspects: impermanent suffering, no self, and extinction. And when he was tutoring the group of bhikshus, Vimalakirti came. Just like Katyayana, how he went to the hell realms to see what really happens there, and then come back to the human realm and expound Dharma and tells what really happens over there. So just like Katyayana, Vimalakirti also went to the tutoring place to get to know what really happens there. I think our volunteers, our managing team should also go and visit and see what's really happening in the workplaces. You should really attend and you should really participate in different projects. Don't float in the air. Don't use words like, I've heard so-and-so. So we can see that Vimalakirti actually goes to different places by himself. We can see and we can probably imagine that Vimalakirti is quite a busy person because he actually goes to these places to really get to know what's really happening. Well, later on, we can observe if some of our managers are getting bigger or gaining weight, then we know that they're not really participating in certain projects that they manage. And don't just limit yourself. If you like people in the entertainment area or in the arts area, you only meet those people. You only make connection to those people. Don't limit yourself in certain circles, but expand your circles and participate in many different groups. Get to know many different types of people, different types of circles. You should have more interests. Of course, if you are a professional in, for example, Vinaya, then you may only want to get close to those people who study Vinaya and who talk about Vinaya, but don't want to get together or communicate with others in different areas. And not accepting others' ideas, even sometimes have a sense of repulse to other people's ideas, different ideas. Many people in our world, they're very different. Maybe they have activities or their actions are not really in accordance to the Dharma. Maybe they drink, maybe they smoke, maybe they gamble. But it could be temporary. It may not be temporary, but it could be. So you should try to get to know them and use a sense of skillful means to get close to them. At that time, during the tutoring session of Katyayana, Vimalakirti came and said to Katyayana, "Hey, Katyayana, do not explain the Dharma of the true characteristic using the mind and method and language of generation and distinction." At that time, it sounds like Vimalakirti is not really happy about the way that Katyayana tutored the group of bhikshus.
僧的话呢，这不是这个地方，在下面。他说你不应该以生和灭的这个方式。
So he said that you should not expound the Dharma with the mind of birth and cessation, or generation and extinction. Sometimes I make different pronunciations of Katayana. In Tibetan, it's pronounced as ga. Just like we don't say Kathmandu, but Gatamandu. It seems that in the Chinese translation, the phonetic of such pronunciation is jia, not ga. So, therefore, sometimes I say it in jia or ga. Like how in Tibetan, pronunciations are so difficult for the Chinese speakers. So over here, Jadayana and Gadayana are fine. I purposely said so that you will not fix on one sound. I'll make sure I take turns. So he said that it is the Dharma are ultimately neither generated nor extinguished. The generation and extinction are usually taught as impermanence. When the person is born and when that person died, it shows the impermanence of life. Now look at the flowers over here. These flowers are the flowers of fall. The flowers of summer already died. The summer flowers already died. But we have the fall flowers, the autumn flowers. And I really like wildflowers because I think all those ones that grows in gardens are not really rare, but the wildflowers, they're quite rare. On the Tibetan plateau, we have many different types of wildflowers.
这样的话，就是说，本来我们声闻乘的话，有生就是最后灭了，就是这叫做无常。但是
birth and death. In the Shravakayana, if something born and something die, something extinct, then that is the process of impermanence. But it is not born. It is not going to extinct. Without birth and extinction, that is the true meaning of impermanence. We often talk about impermanence in the Shravakayana's aspect. We often think that there's the birth, there's the cessation, then there's impermanence. But the nature of impermanence is, the intrinsic nature of such is neither born nor extinguished. In the Mahasamgata Sutra, it says that although the essence of Dharma Dhatu is devoid of any conceptualization, all beings, because of their distorted mind, generate all kinds of conceptual ideas. So the birth and death are no other than our thoughts. These are our dualistic concepts. I think many Dharma teachers probably teach impermanence in such a way that, for example, now this flower is blossoming, but later on it will wither. My relative who was alive a day ago, but now my relative just died, that is impermanence. In such a way, they are teaching the wrong Dharma, just like Katyayana, or wrong impermanence, just like Katyayana. The ultimately impermanence, the meaning of such is that there is no birth and no death. That is true meaning of impermanence. And then he said to Katyayana that the 5 skandhas are empty throughout. There's no arising, and that's the meaning of suffering. In the 400 verses on 400 stanzas on Madhyamika, it says that because of impermanence that we suffer, there are many different causes for impermanence, and that is suffering. But over here, the ultimate suffering means that the 5 skandhas are empty. What is suffering? Suffering doesn't mean that it's so uncomfortable. It doesn't mean that it's suffering of change, or pervasive suffering. But the true meaning of suffering is that the skandhas have never really arisen. That is why it is suffering. That is the ultimate truth, ultimate meaning of suffering. This is quite profound. That was the meaning of suffering, and now talks about the meaning of emptiness. The dharmas ultimately do not exist. This is the meaning of emptiness. In the Sravakayana's teaching, they talk about everything, all the dharmas are empty. And that's the meaning of emptiness. But over here it means that emptiness itself does not exist. Neither. That is the true meaning of emptiness. Just as in the Sutra of the Play in Full, it says that the will is inexpressible. Because it is beyond all paths of audible words. The will is inconceivable because it is beyond the realm of conceptual mind. It is without an example because it is beyond any examples. And it is as great equality as the sky. So how can you talk about sky? How can you talk about space? Usually in the Sravakayana they talk about only emptiness, but they grasp on such extremes. But over here it talks about emptiness do not exist either. And now there's no self in the self, yet no duality. This is the meaning of no self. In the Sravakayana teachings, non-self, it means that there is no self, no one. But ultimately, there's no self in the self. There's no duality. Because if there is no oneself, then how can there be no self? It is all related, all relative. So here he talks about that there is no duality between the two. Everything is in great equanimity. And that is the true meaning of no self. This time, after the Katyayana's teaching, we should have a glimpse of that. The next one says the Dharma were originally not burning and will not become extinguished now. This is the meaning of extinction.
就是不可能有燃是一种产生的意思。
Burning over here means
产生没有
something
的话呢，灭就是它的寂灭
created,
也没有了。
something
那么灭也没有的话
happening.
呢，这就是什么呢？就是这就是所谓的这个寂灭的意思。
Because
那么
if there
真正的
is
这个
no
寂灭的意思的话呢，就是不生不灭啊。
burning
不生不
to
灭
start
就是
with,
这个是
how can there be
就是
extinguish
最
of
最
that
重要
fire?
吧。我们什么时候
That means
碰到了
there's no birth
这个
and
不
no
生不灭的话呢，
extinction.
那么这个是最
No
高的
cessation.
一种境界吧。刚才我们把录音的那么那个对这那大家那个没办没办法的是，那么什么有事无事法系不住心见，就是那么入心论的这个基础里面所讲的那样。最后的话呢，就是一切这个余相也是没有。
Bodhisattva Acharya Avatara, where it says that when something is not existence, both are absent from before the mind. No other options does the later have. It comes to perfect rest from the concepts free.
法是这个没有产生的，没有产生的话，灭也没有。若能入世界，斯人度如来。
As well as in Avatamsaka Sutra, it says that all things are birthless and have no extinction neither. Those who understand this way will see the Buddha. If you can understand in such a way it is birthless, then you will see the Buddha. Just as in the Diamond Sutra, it also says that if people see me with form, or seek me with voice, then they don't see the true Tathagata. The teaching over here is that the teaching over here is on the no birth and no cessation. This lay practitioner is quite something. We listen to the teaching on lay practitioner nowadays, and sometimes as an ordained teacher, sometimes I feel some condolence, some comfort because all those great arhats also listen to this lay practitioner as well. Therefore, all of you are listening to the live broadcast of Vimalakirti right now. When Vimalakirti explained this Dharma, the bhikshu's minds attained emancipation. As we also taught earlier in the past, in the 15th chapter of Nagarjuna's root stanzas on the middle way is the chapter on existence and non-existence. There's a teaching where it mentioned Katyayana. In his counsel to Katyayana, the Lord, through understanding both existent things and non-existent things, he rejected both the view this is and this is not. There's a sutra that is mentioned in the commentary of Miparimachay on this root stanzas on middle way. The sutra's name is Teaching to Katyayana, where it says that people either grasp onto nihilism, on the extreme of nihilism, or on the extreme of existentialism. And there are people nowadays argue that Katyayana, as a Shravaka, he also understands the emptiness of phenomena because as such a great student with sharp faculty, he would for sure understand the teaching on the emptiness of phenomena through the teachings of the Buddha. This is the most profound aspect of the Four Noble Truths. So I hope the Dharma masters and the students here could understand this Four Noble Truths from such a profound aspect. Now we'll move to the story of Aniruddha. At that time, Buddha told Aniruddha to go and visit Vimalakirti and inquire about his illness. Aniruddha, he is ranked number 1. I am holding 2 malas, counting on 2 malas at the same time while I'm teaching. He is ranked number 1 in divine eyes. I think I taught on this earlier, that in the Abhinishkramana Sutra, there was a story on Aniruddha. Aniruddha used to be really tired and lazy during listening to the Buddha's teachings, where he would fall asleep during the teachings, and the Buddha warned him that if you continue to sleep during Dharma classes, it's just like clams staying at the bottom of the ocean, and later in your later life you will not be able to listen to the Dharma anymore. After hearing Buddha's words, Aniruddha then vowed not to sleep anymore, but to be really diligent in studying the Dharma, and he stopped sleeping for 7 days straight. I think that's a little extreme, just like how some of our practitioners nowadays, where when they hear that they should be diligent, they will be very diligent for a day or two. So after 7 days of no sleep, his eyes are all blind. Just like how without 7 days of food, people would die because food nurtures the body, and sleep is just like the eyes nourishment. Without sleeping for 7 days, he died. His eyes were blind. So some of you probably don't sleep really well, and you use lots of eye drops, and especially those Japanese-made eye drops. Sometimes you don't really get those drops into your eyes, but your nostrils. Just as the Lisa Kondro's autobiography, where it is stated that a master who cried, and at that time a dakini who, or a consort of a master, died, and the master was really sad, and his tears dropped into her ears, and the consort woke up from her death. This is just a very short story that I put in there. And at that time, after Aniruddha was blind, the Buddha blessed him with the Vajra light samadhi and illuminated him. And at that time, Aniruddha gained the divine eye. So Aniruddha at that time addressed to the Buddha, said that, world-honored one, I dare not accept your instruction to go and visit Vimalakirti and inquire about his illness. Because once in the past, when I was walking, when I was practicing walking meditation and circumambulating in a certain location, and at that time a Brahma came named Adorned Purity, in company of 10,000 Brahma generated pure radiance, and they all proceeded to where I was at that time. He bowed to my feet in the reverence and asked me, "Well, how much, Aniruddha, can you see with your divine eyes?" So they were asking, how far could you see? So he said, "Sir." In Tibetan, it means friend. I don't think I'll expand a bit more. Anyway, I answered at that time, I see the Trimegachilocosm of Shakyamuni Buddha's land, Shakyamuni's Buddha land, as if I were looking at a mango in the palm of my hand.
就是安穆罗，就是现在的芒果嘛，就是这个安穆罗，就是我们在书里这个放着一个安穆罗 logo 的话，那就一
Just as
眼
looking
看得
at
清清楚楚
a
的。
mango in
所
my
以
hand, so
他当
everything
时
is
呢
very
就是
clear.
看到那个整个三千大千世界。
At that time, I can see the whole Trimegachiliocosm. Sometimes when we say that the 3,000-fold world or the Trimegachiliocosm, people may have a sense of confusion, and they would feel that, well, Buddhism is just exaggerating on the numbers. I'll expand on that a little more later. Anyhow, at that time, Vimalakirti came and said to me, "Oh, Aniruddha, well, at that time, actually, if you can imagine, Aniruddha could see the 3,000-fold world, but Vimalakirti came and said to him, see, at the climax of the story, Vimalakirti usually appears in front of the disciples. He would seize the opportunity, such as during tutoring class, such as during the conversation, in the middle of a conversation. I myself also would eavesdrop during other people's conversations. In the past, when I was still in school, a teacher of mine back then, she used to eavesdrop on us, the students. A female classmate, this girl, she was talking, and the teacher heard what she said. The second day, the teacher was not really happy about that young girl, and the teacher wanted to expel that student because the female student actually talked bad behind the teacher's back. But this girl was very smart, and she staged this scene where she asked a friend of hers to play in a skit with her, where she said that, well, I think the teacher was really right, and I think the teacher was the best teacher I've ever met in my life. And she started to praise this teacher's morality, this teacher's ethics, and this teacher's wisdom are so great, and so on. So after hearing the girls' conversation, the teacher went back to classroom the second day and said, well, I think she really understood, she really knew that she made mistakes, and I think she knows that she was wrong. The teacher thought that eavesdrop was the best way to hear the truth. Anyhow, Vimalakirti came into the conversation. He said that, hey, Aniruddha, is the seeing of divine eye a constructed or unconstructed characteristic? Is it something that is constructed with cause and conditions, or unconstructed with causes and conditions? Because if it's constructed, then it is equivalent to the 5 supernormal powers of the heterodox path. They're worldly divine eyes. It is nothing so great. If it's unconstructed, then it's unconditioned, and it should be without seeing. So he posed such a question to Aniruddha, and at that time, Aniruddha kept it quiet. he couldn't reply. As Master Senjiao mentioned that constructed or unconstructed are, or having characteristics or not, is based on whether you perceive it with dualistic or non-dualistic dualistic concept or not. Whether if it's diluted concepts that sees such characteristics or not. That's one of the way to explain the constructed or unconstructed characteristics. But at that time, Aniruddha could not reply anymore. He can't say it's constructed nor unconstructed. Therefore, at that time, he remained silent. But hearing those words, hearing Vimalakirti's words, the Brahmas attained something unprecedented immediately and revered Vimalakirti and asked him, who in this world has a true divine eye? And Vimalakirti said that the Buddha, the world-honored one, who has attained the true divine eye, because he's always in samadhi. He sees all the Buddha land without any characteristics of duality. He is devoid of the true characteristics, the constructed or the unconstructed. So the Buddha, he attained the true divine eye. There's another story where Aniruddha perceives 8,000 Buddha lands. And at that time, when he sees that in his samadhi, he was walking in lion's stride. But as a Shravaka, Buddha asked him, as a Shravaka, how could you walk in such a lion's stride? But Aniruddha said that I've seen 8,000 Buddha lands, probably more than you, Buddha. So Buddha said, well, I can see the Buddha lands of the number of the sands of Ganges River. When he heard that, he fell just like a mountain collapse, and he was really ashamed of himself, and he vowed that if I were ever to have such arrogance, may I born in hell realm. For those of you who probably question about the number of 3,000-fold world and trimegachiliocosms and so on, you can probably think about all of those biologists and those doctors who studied medical science. They see different blood cells in us and all different components in us that we cannot see them at all. And biologists could see different virus on our hands that is more than millions. But when you look at it, how can you comprehend those viruses are sticking in our hands? Another point is the name Google. Google actually means 10th power of 100. Can you perceive that such a large number? Can you comprehend such a large number? So lots of times, we who are not professionals in those different areas, you cannot comprehend their knowledge. It is exactly the same that we cannot comprehend what the Buddha could see. I'm actually quite happy with lots of the Chinese students because they can understand and they accept lots of the knowledge as they are. But I think Westerners, on the other hand, where I would have to be very bluntly, where I had bluntly put that it seems that lots of Buddhist teachers in the West who had to make lots of compromises so that the Westerners could listen to the Dharma. They wouldn't even talk about the 6 realms, the samsara. They don't talk about the celestial beings, the hungry ghosts, and hell realm, and so on. And those Buddhist teachers, in order to make sure that the Western students would listen to their teaching, they only expound the Dharma in the way that they can understand. For example, they wouldn't talk about karma and the cause and results in past lives and future life, but they only talk about cause and results in this life. Maybe because the Western culture is more aggressive. So it seems that lots of Buddhist teachers yielded to their culture. But if you just like a lot of professors who only accept a certain part, a certain aspect of Buddhism, but not all. You can't come to any knowledge, any fields, with bias to start with. You only accept some things that you want to accept and reject those that you don't want to accept. I think Westerners are very intuitive in terms of science and creativity and so on. But in Buddhism, I don't see that they have made lots of new innovations, even after their lots of research. I know there are people who were ordained and who translated even the words of even the Bodhicharyavatara, but those people don't even believe in reincarnation and samsara. So such a group of people, they're not Buddhists. They're not Dharma. They're not teaching Dharma. Another group of people, they form their own isms. They combine teachings from Osho and from different yoga teachings and so on, along with Buddhism, and they call themselves luminosity teachings or luminosity schools and so on. They put different names to their isms and attracted young people without right view. They only get parts and different parts from different schools and different sects and different isms and combine them into one thing and then into their own thing, and then they call themselves Buddhism. That's not Buddhism. And people who follow them, they don't have the systematic study, they don't have the right view yet. And people who follow them, they are used by these people. And these people who didn't really study Buddhism for a sufficient amount of time, they don't have a good foundation in Buddhism. They only take words and things that people want to listen and teach them to the followers. And from that, they would generate fame and wealth, which happens mostly simultaneously. When they have fame, many people would pay lots of money to attend their courses. Why do people follow these people? Because they don't have enough wisdom. Just as Mipan Rinpoche said, in Mipan Rinpoche's teaching of the rules of mundane and transmundane, he said that having some intelligence but not the ultimate wisdom, being clever but use it to play tricks, pretending to be smart but it's just craft and cunning. These are faults due to carelessness and imprudence. These people, they have some smart, but those are not wisdom. They're very clever to play tricks. They know what the weakness of people. They know what people like nowadays. They know how to use the words that people like nowadays. And they'll use those to build the so-called Buddhism classes. I think many of you should really remember this. If you have the true intelligence, then you should be able to understand both of the teachings from esoteric as well as exoteric teachings. But if you have the kind of cleverness to play tricks, then you could use all these different tools, use your smartness to make wrong conduct. Why do clever people tread on the wrong path? And those faults are due to the carelessness and imprudence. I think for people who used to be ordained and then later on derobed and then rejected all the ideas of reincarnation as well as samsara, past and future lives. All these people have lots of good eloquence, but they don't really expound the true Dharma. Maybe because they don't know what the true Dharma is. Maybe they don't have the good chance to expound it. There are many causes, of course. So I think we should be very careful to all these above situations. So now our Vimalakirti Sutra comes to an end. Have I finished it? Oh no, not yet. There's still a little bit left. So at that time, the adorned Purity Brahma King, and he's attending 500 Brahma Kings. Some said 500, and some said, in Tibetan version edition, it says that it is 10,000, because in the previous ones it says 10,000. So over here, 500 maybe are the 500 Brahma Kings who generated bodhicitta. So all of these people all generated the intention to achieve Anatta Sambodhi. They bowed to Vimalakirti's feet and instantly disappeared. Therefore,
就已经讲完了。
Aniruddha said that I cannot go and inquire about Vimalakirti's illness.